Now today I have this Aiwa cassette player, and as you can see it's in pieces because I bought this one a long time ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer, and it's got another 2 components to go with it, the amp and the tuner, which I've just had to dig around a bit to find them as well. This has been lying around for ages in a corner of the bench because this had gooey belts in it. And I got as far, I don't know where I got to exactly. Did I just look at the belts or did I actually try to remove them? I can't actually remember, but it's been left in pieces for ages. Got these weird power plugs on it that go into the, almost like an American one except for this plastic bit, but they go into the back of either the amp or the tuner, so they're all sort of powered together, and there's a weird wooden case thing for it. I don't think I got the speakers with it, it was just these main units. We've got an Aiwa branded chip in there, 82-130 640. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, I can see the belts missing off the capstan here. Oh yeah, there's gooey belt all wrapped around the motor, and I assume it would have another belt in here. Oh, we've got a real motor, so maybe we don't have a second belt. That would be nice. Oh, we've got a counter, so yeah, there's a bit of ruined belt hanging off the counter, so that's definitely going to have the mech out. And I can see what looks like a rubber wheel in there. That's not a good thing to see when you've got gooey rubber. Here we go, 20th of August 84. Another Matsushita motor by the look of it. So I might pull this mech off the front. Is it that screw? Looks like I've already loosened it off somewhat. The next fun part at some stage is going to be finding where all the screws are for this thing. I take it those two hold it on. Hopefully there's a bag somewhere, but where the hell it would be is another problem. I get a feeling I did put them somewhere. They might be one of these old spray can tops around the place. Well, that one wasn't a very good example, but these sort of things full of random rubbish off the bench, or even worse, it could be in a bag like that you accumulate. Again, full of random stuff off the bench. Usually it's just bits and pieces of things you've dismantled and never put back together, as in junk. But oh, now we've got the problem, the door is stuck, and this is logic controlled, so how do I, must be able to manually do something surely. Which bit, I can't work out what actually, where the door release is. Oh, that is the eject's mechanical. It is this thing, I think. But how does it work? When I press on that, it's like it's stuck. Oh, maybe it's just stuck down because the mech isn't. I have no idea what's going on there. It seems to be seized in place, that's for sure. But it should either push up or when it pivots out back. I can see black goo everywhere. That presses on this lever. So you would think that pressing it one way or another would release the door. There's the door. It's got to be something down this end because I can feel it. Yeah, hanging in it, and the door is moving with the mech, so it's definitely. So where does it? Must be a little hook there somewhere. It's got to be this plastic bit here hooks over. Why won't it let go? Ah, because there's you can't move it. Am I moving it the wrong way? Because there's something underneath it. Oh, because yeah, maybe. Is there a metal plate to block it? Yeah, there's a hole there. So we've got a metal plate blocking it. That's the problem with these decks, and of course it's somehow managed to get itself stuck. There's no engagement, so what we need to do is push one of these, the correct solenoid. There's two of them. I don't know if I'm turning it the right way though. Anything happening? Nope. That doesn't sound good. Let's go the other way. Something's happening, but have we removed our metal bit? No, we have not. No, we're still going. It stopped. So it's got something to block the eject. Unbelievable. It makes sense because most of these decks have to block the eject while they're in play mode or the like. Maybe I need to go. That's just going around in circles, I think. Maybe I need the other solenoid. But of course that goes right up under the capstan where you can't see a thing. Well, maybe that's the key. Well, I guess that is the key. We're going to have to take, well, I've got to take the capstan off anyway, so let's take the capstan bracket off first. Oh, there's some sort of cable tie there. I think that's what they want us to do. I think that's what they're basically forcing us to do, is take the capstan out so we can get to those gears. I've got to clean the motor pulley anyway. Who knows how good this motor is, if it's any good at all. But it will be nice to get this thing off the bench since it's been here so long and actually get the system put back in its little case and maybe have a quick listen to it and see what it sounds like. Ah, it's another screw here, yeah, hiding under the wiring as it always does. It's like someone's conspiring to hide screws under wiring in these things, but I guess there's just so much wiring in them. I mean, look at the wiring harness on this thing, it's ridiculous. At least by modern standards of not having much at all. Now, the next problem is, what if there's a washer on the front of this capstan, which it probably is. I think I can feel something. I'm probably just going to have to dump it. Oh, actually, I wonder if I can get to that solenoid now. I can see the lever on it at least. I wonder whether there isn't a separate bunch of... yeah, there's a gear on this side. That's what I wanted. I'm not even sure I'm turning this the right way, so hopefully I don't break anything. Oh, have we cleared it? Yes, yay! So it's the second gear. Oh, well. Oh, be careful what I touch here. I don't want that black stuff on me again. Oh, I've got this silly wire to God knows what hanging on there. That's coming out anyway. Because what I'm worried about is this thing has, yeah, it's split an idler in it. Yeah, there is a thing on the capstan, so you don't want to pull that out if you can help it. You'll probably find it again. Oh, actually it's got a great, oh, it's got a, oh, these are one of these, like the sharps. It's actually got a rubber piece on the capstan that feeds the idler. So this is way more complicated than I hoped for. That's interesting. Because I've got those, a couple of those rubber bits for a sharp 515 or whatever it is. And this looks to have a very similar thing, but I can't get the capstan out with that in there, it seems. And no doubt if I try and move it up the shaft, it's going to break. So just press fit on there. It's rather weird. Can't say I remember ever seeing that before. So let's see if the idler has some. I can't. I've got to get it into contact with that thing, don't I? How do I? Nothing's going to move because everything's in the wrong spot. Oh, there's another little idler here. off the real motor, so this could be real trouble, this thing. It's almost the case I need to put the belt on this thing, I think, just to get this. I think it's going to be easier to get it running under its own steam than trying to keep reaching these solenoids and things, and just see what we get. Because this might be a dud. I say there's a fair chance it will be. Oh, I did get some black stuff on me every time. So time for some acetone. Start by getting that horrible stuff off me. And that's already ruined the cotton bud. But if we can get it off this. Then I'll scrape all the big chunks off the motor. Oh, actually, the other thing I need to know is probably off one of the reels, I guess, is where does the counter belt go to? Because if I can clean that bit off while I've got the mech out, it might be a good idea. Even if I don't fit a belt yet. Which I probably should in a way, but yeah, that motor pulley is just covered in, the whole belt's almost wrapped around itself on here, I think. We should be able to, yeah, just scrape it. Get all that off as one great big lump. I think I might have just got as far as removing. I think there are other bits of belt in here and I removed them. And then for whatever reason, I just never got back to it. Because other things came up as they do and whatever, and it wasn't a priority. But it would be nice to get this deck out of the way once and for all, one way or the other. If it's no good, it's no good. At least I know. I'll just get the black stuff off this bracket so that can't spread everywhere and get me. Because I'm guaranteed to pick it up by that bit if it's got black stuff on it. Spreading it everywhere. Don't know why I'm doing this on the day that I did that Voca answering machine. That's just been a glutton for punishment. But this is one of the things I want to get off the bench. Yuck, that is terrible. Because it's basically the oldest thing lying around here, I think. I don't think there's a single other thing I pulled to bits in this place and didn't finish. Or did finish for that matter. But I think this whole system was only like $11 or something. It wasn't much back when you could actually get stuff at a reasonable price, and I thought, oh, it's an interesting little one. I must get back into playing around with a few of these things. And then it got delayed another couple of years before I really got around to doing it. But I'm sure this would be quite a nice little system if I can get it going. Though not of much value to anyone, I don't think. But it would make a nice little workshop radio or something, and well, no one's going to be listening to cassette, I guess. No one's really going. I'm certainly not going to be listening to radio. But oh, that's right. There's some on these wires. Could always hook up a CD or some sort of iPod type device. We should call it an MP3 player, and we don't want to give Apple any business. Or Bluetooth or whatever. I mean, your phone's really your MP3 player these days. So even MP3 players didn't last all that long. As a separate device, yeah, that's all good. Now I was going to check counter belt because quickly There's the counter. Over here somewhere, I think it was. Right there. It's got to come off the reel. Supply reel, take up reel, hasn't it? Must do, surely. Oh. No, I don't think they can get to it. Oh no, it's... What on earth does it go to? Sticks right out at the back here. The deck sits in that far. Oh god, what the hell? I can't see a pulley for it to go to. Oh, is it the back of the... Ah, surely not. There it is, I think I can see some goopy belt. It's on the back of the... Usually there's this pulley on the front of the reel. Yeah, the question is, how do these ones come off? Do we just pop them off? Oh, there's a bit of belt coming out right now. Speak of the devil. Yeah, these have got these funny, little bits you got to try and pop off, I think. I never like these ones because I'm never sure how they come apart. I guess it's time to work it out, but if you break that, well, that's the end of this thing. Maybe we should leave that until after we get it basically running. Let's put the main belt in there. I just want to work out the rough length of the belt, which is the capstan coming out to a sort of V. Well, that's the bit there. So I want the length to come out and roughly around this black bit. So let's see if eBay can supply us with something. What on earth? We got a heap of little ones. Because I don't hold up too much hope of this thing ever going again, but that is probably somewhere in the vicinity maybe, or is it just more the diameter of the capstan itself? I think that might be getting there. Showing there's so much wiring harness in the way here. If it would actually loop out enough to go around there. No, that's actually going to be too loose, I think. Is that made us sit? Oh, maybe not. It's going to be very close, but possibly loose. Oh, gotta get back on there. The only way with guesstimating them is to actually put the thing in place and see what it feels like. Well, it's holding on there. Yeah, not bad. I'm getting good at this. Because I picked it first go. I think that's pretty spot on. Wiring absolutely everywhere. Was that the long screw? I think that was the long one. The next problem is we've got to try and get power into this thing, and it's not a normal connector. Yeah, those two screws held it onto the... Oh, this was the one hiding under here. Held it onto the front panel, and all these ones with a larger head on them, almost like a washer built into it, went up here, went onto the mech, hold the mech on, or the capstan onto the mech, I mean. Oh, where was that? Was that under one of these? Must have been. There's always some silly... What is that thing? That's the power switch. Of all the unexpected things to be there. Oh, there you go. There's a plug we can pull out, would help. I think some of this mech was held on by the... Oh, actually it was screwed to the bottom. Well, I was going to say held on by screws that hold the bottom on, but maybe not. Ah. So what do? I'll go and forget the earth wire. Can't remember if it was there or not, but it's going there for now. At least it's out of the way. Power switch back in. And PT, I assume it's power transformer or something. Does the door shut? Yes. Oh, I don't think it doesn't eject again. It should. So there's definitely something wrong with that eject mech. Well, it's not far enough. That made it open. Is it just this not sitting in the right spot? Maybe I'm pushing that in too far or something. No, it's this lever's... This switch doesn't do anything. It's like it's already up in the air before it's... Oh, what's this cover? Does this come off? Oh, well, there's something. Let's get rid of that. What are you doing to me? How's that supposed to even move? It's got a weird screw under it with a spring. I wonder if I tightened that up too much or something. Did I fiddle with that before? Someone did by the look of it. Oh yeah, because the mech should push down. Oh no, maybe not. At least it can go up and down a bit now. Still doesn't open it, but at least it's movable. How does this? A spring must do something. Oh, ooh. Well, the spring's going through that hole. Is that meant to? It seems to. That doesn't make any sense. So that should pivot. How on earth does it pivot? Is it the right way around? Yeah, well, it must be. That's... Or is it though? Hang on. I don't think that is the right way. No, that makes more sense this way. I don't know if I've been fiddling with that and put it back in backwards or something, or someone else did, but maybe I was fiddling with it to try and, or someone wants to try and open the door. So the fact that I've got the screws out, I'm blaming myself for that. It's still a little dodgy, but at least it kind of works now. Don't know if that's meant to fire out like that. Surely that's got a soft... Well, there is a little thing there like a soft eject thing, but it obviously isn't working anymore. Don't know if we can get this bottom back on to just sort of hold everything together without... so it doesn't short out and stuff. And without anything shorting. 2 CD player. Else this did have a CD player potentially. I've never got that either. That's a bit annoying, they kept the little bit. And just left me with all the rubbish. That wasn't very nice of them. That does sit there, even though... Oh, that must have another one of these brackets maybe. These brackets do, does that... Oh, that goes in like that. Okay, gotcha. So somewhere there's a bracket missing off this, I think. Whew, I sure don't remember seeing that, but it's probably in a box of stuff here somewhere. Well, at least it's half back together. Now, I don't know if I do a dodgy end hook to that. Bolgan 6250. But I did find the other bits to this. Now I'm going to find what I did with it. There it is. Introducing the tuner, yeah. So that seems to have all the power sockets on it. And some of these DIN connectors. It's got DIN connectors, my god. I'm not a fan of DIN connectors. But of course this thing was all built into a box, so I guess there was no reason to have RCAs or anything more customer friendly. And we don't have a plug on this. It's just metal tape. Got a timer on the... Now the tuner's on. Well, that's all it's going to do, I think. Oh, well, mind you, this thing probably needs a tape in it. It's got a million switches. That's saying chrome. Which one's the in detector? That is normal. Oh, normal, that might even be enough. Like I said, the only problem is... Okay, we're going to have more than one in. No. Oh, bingo. Oh, we've got a VU level meter here. It's making quite a bit of noise, but we have take up, surprisingly, that rotten old idler tyre and stuff. Doesn't want to fast forward. Oh, there we go. Switch is probably a bit dodgy. Huh. Looks like that capstan definitely needs a clean. I was meant to do that while I was in there and I completely forgot. That capstan's a bit noisy, I think, which is not surprising given it's got a rubber thing stuck to it. It probably needs a good lube as well. Well, I'm impressed that the idlers are still working in this thing, and that means the little reel one's going alright. Actually, I'm not sure if that other one was that for the reel or something else, or just maybe play mode. And the reel motor probably does fast forward rewind. But yeah, that's rather dirty, that capstan. And a pinch roller. Oh, well, let's try it. I guess I've put my normal test tape in there. Rewind's very dicky, the switch. Fast forward, I mean. Yeah, well, we've at least got level meter going, so that would suggest it's playing away quite nicely. I got Dolby BC, B-type, C-type, so it's a fairly advanced little deck. It's got all the metal, it's got the Dolbys, it's got synchro recording system and timer standby. Oh, this actually, what the hell, this selects the inputs. Timer, play, off, record. Oh, that switch is seized up as well. Full logic control. Oh, is it? Oh, unless that's the input that it records off. Oh, synchro recording. Oh, yeah, so you hit these. I wonder if you just hit tuner, it automatically just starts this thing recording the tuner. That's probably what it is, a one-touch recording that selects the input. That'd be a nice feature. I know why the capstan's making a lot of noise. Some idiot left a couple of purple wires attached to it. How did I get them under there? Oh, look at that mains connection at the back. Naughty, naughty. Yeah, some moron. Well, that's a relief. Stuff that up big time. Get this back off. I have to take it back off the base, I think. We've got to get that bracket out of the way. I think that's it. That releases it. Huh. There's always something gets you. Should have known what that noise was. But I was just assuming the capstan probably wasn't the best as far as lubrication and stuff goes. Hopefully I can just lift this end up. Yeah, we can. Out you come. That's the problem with having all these wires loose like they are at the moment. They're probably not even sitting where they should be, and so they're getting in the way. Oh. This bit's actually broken off the base by the look of it, because I'm seeing a funny bit of plastic moving around. The mounting post is loose. Now the brown wires are in the way. That one, see, that one's gone under there as well, I think. So yeah, a little more difficult than usual to work on. Yes, I think I just, do I stick that on there? Yes, 2 screw holes. That sits like, I should get that under there too. That, and then we swing that bit around and it kind of locks it in there. Okay, that should solve our scrapey noises. Or not. What is that? Oh, you're kidding me. There's a brown wire's gone underneath. That little twisted up one there, you little son of a... Oh, God. It does not want me to have this running. So record, play... Oh, that's not sitting in very well either. Yeah, I wonder what happened to the cables from this. I think it had them. Oh dear. Yeah, I didn't realise we were missing a bunch of audio cables. Okay, well I went looking for the other bits of the Aiwa system and found the tuner and amp. And I knew this casing was lying around. And I was wondering what happened to all the leads for it. All the DIN connectors. And scratching my head what the hell I did with them. But then I suddenly realised they're actually part of this thing. So they're all down a mess. I might even unscrew them from this case. It's got like an Aiwa badge, which is a bit out of focus there on this, and they all sat in a stack, plus there's a top piece. You can see the dowels sticking out there where a top bit goes on it as well, so like a sandwich in this system. But yeah, I couldn't remember what I did with them, but I think to make it easier to work on, and I think the power cords all went through the back bit here. That piece slides out as well, so maybe even with that out might be enough to make this easy to connect together and just test it. Okay, so what do we have here? We have, that's the heavy bit, that's the stereo integrated amplifier, which has the speakers and one connector. This is, yeah, the tuner, TX110 tuner. So what have we got here? That one's got the power cord cut off. That's got the twin, what does it, no, that's not that one. Maybe that just goes to the output. Oh, you want the other ones for remote, so that must be the middle one there. One plug plus, yeah, holes for, that's all the power leads. Sockets. And the amplifier, I guess, is probably going to be the top one model, but yeah, 3 inputs. So the tape deck is the one that goes on the bottom. So we need the power plug through that hole. And then the 2 DIN connectors should line up. Though I'm going to have to, of course, not much good doing it with a circuit board loose in the thing. Is that it? I think that's it. Bit crazy, but kind of makes sense that the tape deck with their little lips sticking out the front of it down here would sit on the bottom, because that's where the wood comes out to. I probably should have put that on first, shouldn't I? But couldn't really do it because I want to make sure those DIN connectors go in. I think we're sliding back out again now. So not the greatest system to work on in that sense. They normally either put it back together because you're sure it's working, or yeah, disconnect all those cables off the actual back plate. I think there's another option. Well, we've got take up. Not the most powerful take up in history, but it's there. Fast forward. Rewind. Got a rather nice sound, that one. Instead of rattly and stuff, it sounds like it's a pretty solid mechanism. Not sure what that recording is. I guess I have one channel. That's better. Ugh. Besides all that noise in it. No, definitely got an issue with the audio. And wow, I wonder if that's something to do with that. That plugged in a little bit better then. Well, that fixed the audio issue. A little bit of wow, I think, but not unexpected. Fast forward button doesn't want to work. It's not sitting the best. Hold up music search. Yep. It's got a music sensor according to this. Not sure how you make it work because it doesn't want to do it. Do you press both simultaneously? Maybe that's it. I press both play's got a flickering light. Ah, bingo. Totally kills the high end when I put the Dolby on, which like it always does. But that is running basically. So I guess these other buttons must be for the record input select, would be why it's got input select type buttons there. These are the ones, yes, you've got phono, tuner, tape, CD, auxiliary, all seem to be working. Yeah, a lot of bass coming out of it, just at its normal mid equalizer setting. Why on earth are the equalizer? What? Just noticed the equalizer labels here are all upside down. So I'd say there's metal pieces falling off at some stage, or someone's glued it back on upside down or something. That's how I can't see how else it can be like that. Yeah, 15 kilohertz. That's definitely the high one there. So someone's said this label's dropped off. I'll have to see if I can flick that off again. Crazy. But yeah, it's basically a working unit again. It needs a clean on that volume control, so we'll pull that to bits and do that. Tape deck's working, but not great. And automatically when I press play on tape goes to tape. But I was a bit worried about that sort of crackling in the sound, but that seems to have cured once I pushed the tape deck in a bit harder. But yeah, you can switch the Dolby B or C in, but it sounds absolutely terrible. Certainly murders the high end on it, as Dolby likes to do. I think they just sound pretty dull, but some people seem to like Dolby. It might be better if you actually use it on record, I think, and then don't use it on playback. So we'll have a look at that amp volume. And I was never expecting this deck to be 1,000,000%. But a little bit better than that would have been good. At least it's running again. Yeah, what a weird sort of system this thing is, really. And it's amazingly heavy for what it is. Antenna. I guess the wood alone weighs a bit. So it's a pretty hefty unit. This amp is quite a few kilos. It's not very big, but it's got a solid transformer in there, and that was the thing. A lot of these Japanese ones, they made them very compact, but still had the same amount of stuff in there basically. And no screw in the middle. Looks like someone's pinched it, or maybe there never was one. At least this can be used as a separate amplifier. Basically, you'd have to put a new plug on it, obviously, and you can ignore all the DIN connectors, even though they're probably, well, that one's probably standard, it's the 5-pin, but those have got a heap of pins, 8-pin or something, are they? Yeah, 8-pin DINs, but you've got all these standard inputs at least. What is this? This is an MX90 or MX90K. So nice, that's where most of the weight is in that thing. Nice solid transformer. I guess, and what have we got, an STK chip of some sort under there. Can't see what it actually says, or what type it is. Quite a nice little unit. Another one of these circuit boards like I saw on that TAC tape deck with those tracks on the top and little components made out of carbon or something printed on the top. So that's interesting. So they must, I think they all sort of came out around the same year. But I guess if we just hook the speakers up, we can at least hear if the volume is still scratchy. Actually, I've got some new contact cleaner. I might try that out. Got the one that Wagner Electronics sells, which I can't remember what brand it is, and I've never used it before because you can't get the CRC switch cleaner lubricant anymore. Oh, how am I going to power it is the only problem. What is it? It is CT Chemical Tools, Chem Tools, a new force in chemical manufacturing. Remove loose contaminants from the surface, dislodging any smaller foreign elements. For optimum performance or regular maintenance of mechanical parts, repeat daily or weekly. Powerful former penetrates and flushes away light oils, greases, carbon deposits and other contaminants from sensitive electrical and electronic. Mild solvent for faster evaporation. Thin protective dielectric coating to promote conductivity, reduce resistance, protect from moisture and repel corrosion. Ozone friendly, well, who would have known? It's not the 80s anymore. And safe on plastics and rubbers. That's the key with all these things, is make sure they're plastic friendly, because potentiometers and switches and stuff have plastic in them. That's why you can't just ideally use like things like CRC, RP7, all those, so WD-40. Leaving no marks or messy residues, that's important too. Commonly used to protect switches, contacts, connectors and terminal points, while also lubricating electric motors, engines, drilling tools and moving components of all size. Unit Leone, oh, it's from New South Wales. I doubt it's, oh, it is actually manufactured in Australia. Oh, that's good to see. Well, I guess it makes sense because you're not going to send too much of this around the world easily. Do we need to shake well or anything? Probably not. Extremely flammable, of course. Sensor oil, yeah. Oh no, propellant carbon dioxide. Hexane isomers, isohexanes, paraffin oil. That must be your lubricant. Here, shake before use. Probably best to give it all that. Just got transported here, so in a truck, so I guess it's probably had a bit of a shake up. And we've got our tube, that's the all important thing. Pretty rare to bother putting the lids back on these things unless you've got them in a work van or something. Of course, it doesn't fit, does it? That'd be right. Seriously? It does eventually. Very tight fit. So where's our pot? There's the next problem. Oh, you can't see a thing. Probably could have done it from the outside maybe. It's got one of these aluminium things in the way, so I don't have to pull it all to bits. I think I might have to pull it all to bits, or at least get the front off this thing. Well, that's a bit annoying. But off and away with these things. You think it would be a nice quick job, but it isn't. Nothing's quick with audio gear, it seems. But yeah, this would have been a nice little unit in its day, that's for sure. I bet it wasn't cheap, and I mean, being at Aiwa, Aiwa always made nice stuff. Even their Walkmans and stuff are really nice, or at least the higher end ones. And I'm not a fan of Walkmans particularly, but I mean, they're nice while they're working. You just don't want to be repairing the things. Okay, what's holding this together? Oh, is that board attached? Oh, it's got connectors, is it? Oh, okay, what do we got here? Do we have to pull the board till it disconnects? Don't like things like this because you're pulling on that and you don't know what's going to suddenly go, or if you're going to break something. I can't see how else it would go. I can see some sort of edge connectors, I think. Are they edge connectors? Must be. Oh, Do they go up though? Oh, they're upwards, I think. How on earth does that work? There must be a way, unless you've got to take the board. Well, it must slide. Don't think there's any other way of these coming apart other than they have to slide apart, because you can't take the board out. It's definitely around that connector area, so even that's difficult. Be right, wouldn't it? Is there anything underneath here holding it? I think so. Something's going to suddenly give way and scare the crap out of me, probably. Or break. No, this does not feel like it wants to move. So that board's loose with it. Basically unplug that. Oh wait, is that attached to something? No, it's bolted to the front. Only attached to the front. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's time to jam a screwdriver in there, any of those connectors, and see what happens. What is going on here? Looks like it's soldered from above. I don't know how those connectors particularly work. Oh, do I need to hit that clip? Oh yeah, that was the key. There's a black plastic clip along the edge of the connector there. Is there one on the other end? I bet there is. It's coming anyway, but hey, that's got it. Now it feels like there might be another one somewhere. Oh wait, what do we got? Oh, is it just this clip? Oh no, that's it. Ew, what's going on here? That looks a bit weirdly coloured. Yeah, there's almost a bit of green stuff there, but I don't think it's corrosion. That capacitor looks a bit like the plastic shrunk on it. God, look at them all jammed in around that one. Looks a bit iffy too from below, but jammed in around the heat sinks. We've got, looks like speaker protection maybe. I guess ideally you would pull this whole thing to bits and check everything, but at the moment I'm not sure I feel like doing that. I just want to get this thing running for now. So it looks like I have to take this whole board off. I think mostly it's clipped on. I've got a couple of screws where this other little board goes on. Okay, that's a bit better. That's the problem, you forget between the big system and the close-ups to move the camera. And another screw on the end, oh, another screw there. Oh, what the hell's that? There's like a little spring thing there. Oh wow, look at that. It's like an earth pin goes down a little hole there. My god. The things you find in these things. Ooh. I was going to say, do I need to pull knobs off there or anything? No, it looks like they're on the, oh, they're all on that other board. It's kind of coming on its own. I don't even have to unclip the clips. Well, there we go. Look at that dust on that. That's no wonder it's not happy. Well, that's pretty cool. I guess I should probably clean all the other ones, the graphic equalizer pots, while I'm at it. Give the whole board a bit of a dust off. And we're going to make sure we get that volume knob back where we want it. I might put that right down that end, or I'm going to have to move it around now anyway. Well, let's try our stuff out. Whoa, quite a hard can to press. Smells like the usual contact cleaner, so I guess that's something. They probably all got the same formula roughly anyway. Oh wait, those pins are a bit, what the hell's going on there? A bit green looking. They actually come out and bend around. That's why I was worried, because they're soldered in a row. You can see above the other connectors. That's why I wasn't sure. Are they corroded? It's like, yeah, some gooey, unless it's some sort of lack. I might give them a clean, because they don't look quite right. This sort of hard to press and then it all shoots out at once. Don't need too much in there, I don't think. Oh, then we're going to have all those knobs to deal with. And they got little plastic bits sticking up here. Maybe I'll go the other. Oh, they're probably going to have plastic bits sticking out whatever I do. God, that stuff's pouring out everywhere. That's why I didn't want to use too much of it. But they say it doesn't mark anything, so let's hope it doesn't. It's dripping all over the front. God, pouring out of the things. Well, I hope it works well. After that, so yeah, this is the fiddly bit, is just getting everything. Maybe I'll put all them in the middle. Don't know where the middle is, not from the outside really. And I've got to check this. Oh no, one just fell out. Oh no! What the? What sort of weirdo design is that? Oh, now that one wants to fall out. They all want to fall out. Just go where I want you. Plastic bloody things. I guess these could all be pulled out. That's probably the ideal thing, and cleaned off. Might be the go. If you really wanted to get this right, but now I can't see how to get the thing back in there. So you go down, and of course it hits a dead end. Great design, bro. So how do I get that to bend? Do I need to bend it before I put it? I don't think it's going to. Oh god. Don't think it's going to bend before I put it in there. So how do I grab it? I guess I need a fine screwdriver, probably finer than that one. Oh, do I need to get something down behind it? Or do we, maybe put a screwdriver or something to deflect it? Huh, brilliant. Great design. Just freaking brilliant. How am I supposed to get that back out? Maybe I need one of those hook things. Like a pick. Well, I don't think I'll be bothered pulling any more of them out because I don't have all day to do this. Yep. If I'll clean them as good as I can from the outside, I think. And that's it. Oh, hang on, do those fit in some other way? No, they just sit on there. They don't have to slide under anything. These really want to clean off. Ideally they all want removing and cleaning, but I can probably clean them reasonably well from the outside. Oh yeah, they'll clean from the outside, alright. And that's a minimum. Can I clean that knob? I think I can do it. Okay, from the outside. Now this is going to be fun getting all this back together, no doubt. Oh, I do need to, I think I'll just put this back together before I do anything. And we'll look at that aluminium bit. Can that be pushed off? The volume I can at least see going in. Oh, that's it, I think. Did they go in? Yeah, I think I got it this time. I just hadn't pushed all of them exactly to the centre, or they bumped on something. Yeah, which, oh yeah, I've got a screw. Must be these plastic screws went in this bit. It's only 3 of them. One's a bit longer, is it? Got to get that little earth thing back in. And this funny little wire, part of it sticks up, part of it has a little hole to go in. Must press down onto the aluminium on the front somewhere. As long as we're in that hole, I guess we're right. And the other bit probably sticks out, and the problem is it spins around when you tighten it. The other bit must, and it comes out from under the screw. Maybe that's to hold it so you can hold it against the rotating forces. Don't know. Not a fan of stuff like that because you've got no idea how it's even meant to work. Now let's see if these Yeah, if they click in the middle, I'd say they're probably working. That didn't sound too good, bit of a squeak there. Now, I guarantee that fell off and someone just stuck it back on and didn't take much notice what they're doing. I can see some glue down this side, something shiny on it. Man, they really stuck it on. Good job, people. Let's cut it with super glue and then stick it on upside down. That's something like what happened, I'm guessing. Maybe I do need to take the board out again and try and... I don't think that's going to come off. Well, that's a bit of a disappointment. And I'm starting to mark things trying to get it off. Can you prise? How thick is it is the next problem. I think it's actually it's pretty thick metal. Ooh, that's starting to prise if I squeeze it between the... Ooh, yeah. Between the plastic and the metal there at the top of these slots. Oh Christ, it always has to go with a... It is super glue, I knew it would be super glue. Wow, that's highly annoying. I might even clean that up a bit. Well, at least I can get to those things now without slotting them out. I guess with this piece missing it would have been a lot easier to probably... Actually it wouldn't have been any easier, I don't think. Oh, at least that came off in one piece, so there's no bendy. Thank God they made it out of decent solid metal. It's like nearly a millimetre thick, that stuff. Oh. Now I've got another plastic screw. Just realised I've got another one here. Ah, there by the look of it. Oh no, it wasn't there, it was this one here. I remember there was one near that bit of old foam there. That says there's one there, but I don't think there was. Now, oh, there's connected. Oh, I've put it back in there now, haven't I? I was going to look at why that's gone a bit green. Oh well, maybe something got in there at some point. It does look like there's a little bit of black stuff. And something fell off before there. Might even put a bit of that contact cleaner stuff in there. As it slots back in, might do something. And I'm going to have to give that a clean all the dust out of this thing. Of course my front's hanging off, just get rid of that for now. I'm going to put that plug back in. Go away connector. I thought that was flexible or something for a minute, but it should just... Aiwa really like the slotting connectors on this system. I better make sure it looks like they're lining up with the pins, I guess. I can't really tell. And we've got these other two silly metal things here, which is a bit odd. Are they supposed to slot in and keep everything together, but then it's not, the base isn't going on. And the connectors definitely don't feel like they're going in. What are those silly things supposed to do? Yeah, they do sort of lift up, so that's alright. Because they look like they're lifting up under there. I think so, I think we got it. Felt like something was going in then. Felt like it was going in, but now it's not going any further. I wonder if we've got to push that circuit board down a bit to... Yeah, it looks like it's rising up quite a bit. Oh, the connectors actually get off there. Yeah, it's lifting the connectors up. So that board's probably sitting too high. So that should be it. Maybe if I press down on that a bit. Yeah, that was the key. You've got to press down on the connector a bit. Still wasn't quite home, but that's clipped on. That's clipped on. So that was the key. That connector just was sitting too high. The circuit board did look a bit sprung up. And yeah, I might even just go and brush the dust out of it, put the cover on and just plug it back in the system. It's probably just as quick as trying to get that another mains cord and messing around trying to hook that up. Keep it a bit to one side. That's it, I think. We just need to put the cover back on. Let's get rid of the speakers. Okay, let's turn it on again and see what it does. Yeah, get the equaliser in the middle. So that's all seemingly running. That's on tuner. And tape we can just press play on. And we're back to that noise again. Yeah, press it in and it cures it. Oops, and press the power button at the same time. Doesn't help. Yeah. Is it on or off? On. Find something a bit more exciting than that to play. Of course, we can't eject. Finally, and we're right on the leader tape. Oh, how do we music search? Press fast forward and play, or it actually tells you here. MS music sensor. In blue above there's a couple of lines, so you can do it either direction by the look of it. A little wow in that. But we know. Sounds really bad at the beginning of the tape. Wait, I told you to stop. Oh, now the play button's stuck on. So the buttons are a bit diggy on this, but yeah, that sounds terrible enough that I don't really want to tape in there. It sounds like it's about to eat it. So I guess maybe, yeah, how can we do this? Is there any way you can run the tape deck? I guess if you pull these two plugs off alone, you could actually run it behind the unit, so that's actually a point with these things. That's how you do it, I reckon. Get rid of the radio antenna. Maybe I need to unscrew those two bottom ones. Whoops, everything's coming apart. And that's the only problem, is you've got to take everything out to get the bottom one out. And then the next problem is you're going to have to prop the other ones up with something the size of the tape deck to actually get them to go back in the case. So yeah, it's not a promising idea actually, but it can probably be done somehow. Just got to find another unit lying around here that's about the same thickness. Any old tape deck will do it. Just so these things stay plugged into their connectors. Horrible. Well, let's see how hard they are to remove. If I can find a short Phillips. Maybe not that short, but oh, actually, wow. They got lacquer all over them. Oh yeah, it nearly made it to the end. It did actually come most of the way before it even broke the lacquer off the metal plate in the back there. But looks like you can get these sockets off without too much work. Is the screw going to come out, or do I just leave it in the wood maybe? Actually, I should get the drill, I guess, would be a quicker way of getting them out. Yeah, much quicker. Keeps slipping out that one. She must be a bit of a, yeah, very tight in the lacquer there. Probably need to go the other way and back again. No, it's just I need bigger pliers if I can get them in there without squashing the cable inside. Yeah, very tight. Or just too much lacquer on it. Yeah, it doesn't really want to go in there. usually my experience with the lacquered ones is they are exactly like that, but most of these were easy. Oh, we've got to take the screws off to... No, we don't. We're going backwards, aren't we? That's the next problem. Oh, come off there. We've got to keep a note on which one's which, I guess. Oh, of course, they're both the same too. So I might even just scratch L and R in there or something. So of course, maybe call that 2 L1. I'll just remember that it's from the front. So now we've got a couple of cassette player things, and I've got to remember, I don't know what happens if you plug them in the wrong way, but I'm sure it won't be pretty since one's probably got voltages and one's got audio, but then might mean nothing happens. Okay, after quite a bit of messing around, I've got this thing sitting out the back of the unit. I probably should get rid of that antenna lead. I've got the leads all hooked back up. I guess I'm going to make sure this thing actually is doing something. Yeah, so we've got that happening. Whoop, there it goes. Yeah, definitely a lot of wow there. So it's really got to be, well, most likely the belt, which I put a new one in there, but it doesn't mean it's any good, or the motor. And I'll see if I actually ordered a couple of new motors, because this is the sort of situation I actually want to try a new motor in some of these things, just to make sure it isn't these Chinese belts off eBay causing the issues, but it's more than likely going to be the old motors. I wonder if I can get that out without... I don't think I've got a short enough screwdriver in a finer size, but maybe I do. Got the power off, haven't I? That one I think will come out. The other two I don't know, you can't remove the back cover off this thing, which is a bit of a pain. Oh, they're great big long screws. There's another one there, so that's 4 screws by the look of it. Although, before I do that, I better make sure I've got the right motor, because it's, what is it, a 12 volt counterclockwise, I think. We have, yeah, 12 volt counterclockwise. I think that one is 2 LK. Oh, that's a MMI 6S 2LK versus MMI 6A 2LKXA. So this is probably the natural... Wow, it's made in 13th of Jan 97. That's some pretty old stock. Old new stock. Really? That's probably the last time they could get them. Well, if this one's made in 99, I wouldn't be surprised. So Wagner's stock is getting pretty old. This doesn't have a long enough motor shaft, I don't think. Oh, it's not too far off, but yeah, maybe. Oh, there's black goo on there too, but look at that one's not much longer either. I forgot that was one thing. Some of these came with longer shafts for these older ones, and I ordered these for some newer units. Probably shouldn't put that near the tapes because it does have permanent magnets in it, but I think we can get that on good enough. Yeah, now that I remember, there was a longer shafted version, I think, but the EG500s were like one of the most common ones to just replace everything. But like I say, depending if the screws are the same, I think the screws are the same on all these motors. Yeah, they look like they probably are. So if the diameter is about the same, if they're not, they're awfully close. And I think any deck with the motor mounted on the back like this is your counterclockwise, and when they're mounted on the other side of the plate, with the pulleys sticking through as they are in some units, I think that's when you go the other, because yeah, that'll be clockwise if it's mounted the other way around. So I think that's the only reason. From memory, counterclockwise was the most common one, and I think it's just more in like some of the boom boxes and stuff where for space reasons or whatever they shove the motor the other way around. I don't know if any of these type of decks do that. There probably are some. That's when it becomes a clockwise. But yeah, I think I might be able to get this apart. That's a short screw, is it? Without taking it all apart. There's a wire caught up in it. Now, get the belt off the pulley, and hopefully this roughly comes out. So all we're going to do is basically undo it from the bracket. Where's the wiring? It's pointing diagonally down. Oh, actually it's not, because this was the other way around, diagonally up towards the real motor roughly. Not that it matters too much. And then we just got to swap the plastic pulley over. I'd be surprised if much of it's down to the actual tape, but I did actually download that software that you can use as to measure wow and flutter, so I guess I should try and get that set up so I can connect it up to tape decks and actually try and measure it a bit rather than just going by my ears. So brown on negative, red, whoop, 2 reds on the positive. A little noisy but not too bad. Now the main thing we need to do is get the measure of how far out the pulley sticks, and I often just use a screwdriver blade like that. You know, I do have a pair of caliper things there, but that's usually good enough if you get it roughly like that, and we can just prise it off usually like so. But that's got quite a long shaft, that motor. Don't know if it had to go a certain way on, but we'll try and keep it the same way round. I'm tempted to put another Mabuchi motor in there, but yeah, quite a bit of difference there, but it doesn't matter that much. In theory that should hold the pulley a bit more stable, I guess. Now, do these holes line up? Looks like they do. Soon check on the bracket, I guess. In some position or other we should be able, we've got 2, yeah, we've got 3 that line up, and we're roughly pointing the right way. Now I need to get that, whoops, just putting it on at all. Oh, actually we've got to go, this has a little bit of metal sticking up out of the body, so we don't need to go on a bit further. Thankfully I thought it was actually going to just be on the end, but that's probably at least halfway up the thing. Maybe go a little bit tighter. That's it, it should just, that screwdriver should just lift it. Yeah, it's a good halfway in there, probably a little bit more. So that's not the end of the world. And the bracket went, yeah, that way. So the motor wants to roughly sit like so. This doesn't have very deep holes in it, is one thing I just noticed. That's a bit of an odd design. So there's always all these little things with them. I don't think these screws are actually going to go in deep enough. They might. It just makes it, I think. So that is one little trick, is this Mabuchi motor's, it's actually a good design in a way, because it stops any ingress of stuff through the holes, because you've often got a heap of, that screw hasn't lined up quite right, I shouldn't have tightened that right off. I just wanted to make sure it actually fitted in. But yeah, by blocking the holes off, it means you don't get dust in there, which is not a bad idea. Whereas our other motor has like 6 or more holes. Yeah, 6 holes, or same with the old one. So it's got 6 holes, half of which are just left open in the gaps here with potential to get dust and stuff getting in there. This is all sealed up, which is a good design. Looks like they It should be made by the same company, I think, so they learnt that that's a better way of doing things. I guess I should put a little bit of grease on that too, but don't know if it originally had any, probably not. And we've got to get these hooked back up, of course. So it will be interesting just to see, just with a hearing test, how much better it sounds, if it sounds any better at all. You never know. But a new motor's got to improve things quite a bit. But I thought I might as well, I needed a new motor. I think the other one is for a Marantz deck I'm working on that's got a motor that doesn't work at all. And I thought I'll buy one of these Mabuchi ones as well at the same time. So I've got another spare one, and also it'd be interesting to just play with a couple of decks. Even if I get that Marantz going, I may even pull the motor back out yet, who knows, but now I've got the problem of trying to get this belt on. I probably should have left it until the motor's half screwed on. Let's get it hanging over the capstan again. I could almost pull it over that thing there. I wonder if I can put it on that post. Sometimes it pays to stretch the belt out over some mounting post or something, just so it can't fall right off. Now what is going on here? Something's tight. Just that wire. Where's that mounting there? Oh yeah. If I get maybe a couple of screws down that end, then I should be able to swing this end out a bit and get it over the pulley. Of course, it's went straight onto the circuit board. Damn brown wires in the way. Come on, out you come. And I don't think this screwdriver is magnetised. Oh, it is. Yeah, they must have made them new, Stanley. Because pretty sure I never magnetised that one. I don't think I've used it before. I only just found the screwdriver set when I cleaned up the workshop a bit and thought, oh, there's a few more in the case they came in worth pinching out of it that I should have lying on the bench. Rather than just not being used at all. Where are we? Oh, it's eject, isn't it? Ooh. Let's see if I can get that to play. That's not it. Oh, is it? Not sure what we're meant to touch here to... The deck doesn't seem to operate. There's our award-winning love songs. It doesn't... Ah, that's better. Not sure it's... Stop. Not sure it's perfect, but I think it's a lot better. Besides the speed, still sounds like quite a bit of wow there. I don't think I can actually, have I got anything short enough to adjust it? Oh yeah, it might just make it if I can try not to electrocute myself in the process. Oh yeah, that should be possible to do, hopefully. Thanks. It's actually worse than before. But of course, a lot of these motors, if you use a metal screwdriver to adjust them, if you're short onto the... Oh, that's why I didn't do the counterbilt on that. I wonder why the counter didn't work. If you short them onto the case, you'll hear it speeds right up. That's just basically because you're touching the wiper of the pot, which is metal, onto the case of the motor, which is ground. So that's why it goes a bit silly like that, which is nothing to really worry about, but... Like that. I don't know what's going on there, but that's impressive. That belt does seem to wobble around a bit. I don't think it's slipping at all or anything, but I'm not sure if it's the belt or the pulley itself, but is that belt really tight enough? It does just slip a little early, but it's not bad. Well, that capstan's got a bit of play in it, which is a bit of a worry. But it's pushing back, so... Makes me wonder if the voltage going in this thing's correct, but... It should be alright, I would think. Tad low, but unless there's an issue with the pinch roll or something not coming up properly. Maybe that 1997 motor isn't so great. I doubt that's the issue though. But another simple job that isn't so simple, and that's the problem with messing around with this old stuff. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, it can't be the screws are in too far or anything, I don't think. It's definitely tight. And the other option is to try replacing that belt if I've got one with something a bit better quality. Sped up again a bit maybe, but it's not as bad, I don't think. I'm not sure that motor's much good, to be honest. Well, so now I'm in a catch-22. I don't know if that motor's any good. Don't know if the belts are any good. I haven't got any good belts as such that I know I can trust. But don't think that's got anything to do with that thing playing up like that. That's definitely a motor issue. Okay, so let's pop that back off. Try the EG500. Good old trusty motors there. No, it's still in there, isn't it? What's going on? I'm damned if I know. It's not that tape, is it? Oh, so they're making a weird noise. So that's not earthed properly, I don't think. I guess the other thing could be is there's some sort of weird back tension on the tape. That's something I didn't check. That would certainly cause an issue. Let's check that, because you never know. Yeah, that reel's probably not as free as it should be, to be honest. I wonder if it could be something like that. It would make sense. Yeah, that should be running really free, I think. Yeah, it's got a bit of tension on it, so maybe we've got a back tension issue here. Yet the reel seems to run fine. It's possible it's not letting off a brake or something crazy like that. Let's have a look. It does have brakes, these two little brakes there, so the question is, do they come off? And they should. Yeah, that is a little stiffer than it should be, I think, assuming there's nothing else touching it. So an idler in here. I'm actually seeing a bit of, is that the counterbelt in there? That probably doesn't help. There's a bit of counterbelt under this metal bit here, I think. This idler's split. I think I saw that before. Yeah, for some reason I completely forgot about the counterbelt in this thing. Let's lift the brakes. Oh, let's take that one off. Yes, that's nice and still a bit noisy, but this one, nothing like that. I wonder if we got counterbelt or something jammed. I can actually see a bit of black stuff on this. So maybe we've got an issue because of the reel. Now, how do these ones come off? Do they just pop? Whoop, yep. Oh yeah, some goo behind there, which probably doesn't help. I'm not sure that's the full reason for it not working, but it wants that shaft cleaning as well, probably. And I need to get that bit out from under there. Yuck. Can't see any other belt under there, thankfully. So I should have known really to check a few more things probably in this one, since it's got gooey belts in syndrome. Yeah, that probably isn't really helping at all. Do I see a bit on here? So it's not good that it's even a bit where the idler has to go. Is it? Yeah, that idler comes under there. So on rewind, that's probably touching this thing. Not great, but it didn't seem to worry it. Let's try and get as much black muck off there as we can. And yeah, you can see a trail of it around there. Yuck. That might be even what's, maybe that's contacting the thing and dragging on it a bit. No, that's not going to be good. Oh, better not get that too close to the soldering iron, I guess, since it is flammable stuff. Might as well do the pulley for the counterbelt while we're at it. I might even pull that one off and do it. That actually looks split, that pulley for the counterbelt. That's a worry. So the spring goes under there, but if I oil that, what's actually going to hold it in there? Is there something on the back of that or something? Does that just push in there? That's a bit odd, really. Or does this meant to turn? No, it can't turn on that. And this brake seems to be in the way. That's better. It's certainly running better than it was. So it somehow clips in there, I think. So I think it's safe to put a bit of oil. I can always avoid putting it right on the end of that, I guess. Should go on there. Hard to tell. I'll cover a cotton bud in it and just try and get it on this metal shaft further down from the end maybe, but it's going to be on the end now anyway. Oh well, let's put it on and see what happens. Hopefully it still clips into something there. Yeah, something holds it, so it is sort of clipping. Doesn't feel as free as it did before. At least it's not noisy now. Oh, because I put a spring on it, that's why. So that might be another reason this one's not as free as the other one. Oh, that one doesn't want to come out. I can't see the back of it. That one doesn't. Oh yeah, it does come out. I'm hoping they're not meant to pull out. Well, that's free, but it probably makes it a bit noisy and fast forward like that. But I may have to leave that for the minute just to see if that actually fixes our other issue. Not sure that really feels much freer than it did before with that spring in there. So that might be normal, but that must have freed it up a little bit. Well, it did. Well, then again, we don't know for sure because I only did it with the spring out. That's as free as it's going to get, I guess. I wouldn't think that spring would create so much friction, really. Oh, that's got oil up in there. It's got a bit of hair and stuff on it, which probably isn't ideal, but even with the oil on it, it's still noisy. Maybe I should put a little bit of oil on there just for the spring. Don't think it's going to make much difference, but so the spring's making that hit whatever's underneath. Still got a little bit of tension. Okay, try it one more time, I guess. Better make sure it still actually runs. Where are you? Nav take up. Why don't I fast forward? There we go. Might actually be better on both fronts. Certainly a lot less wow, and the earthing issue seems to have gone. So that's all it was, maybe. Oh no, it's still playing up on that one. Starting to worry about this tape if it's any good. I haven't really tried it on anything much, so maybe it's no good. Well, other than on that John Farnham tape, it seems to actually work alright, so maybe it's just that tape's a bit iffy. Though it was playing up before on everything, so there was definitely an issue there. Sounds pretty good. Better than it lot we've heard lately, so that seems pretty steady on the test tape. I don't know what is going on with this Age of Reason tape, but it sounds like it might be iffy. Okay, I'll put this thing back together. Got the top on it here. Even got the back on the thing. The tape deck's not really fitted in 100%. I will still have to find the... was it a bracket on the end? There should be the screws with it somewhere. Still doesn't have a counter belt in it. I did patch up the play button, wasn't the best, but it's still not 100%. The eject button isn't 100%. And a few of these other function buttons, and there's little switches in there, looks like someone's had a go at them, and they're still not the greatest. I think other than that, everything's pretty much working. I think ooh, definitely working.
A partly cloudy day is on the way today, with winds up to 35 kilometres an hour and a top of 19. For Friday, a shower.
Yeah, we definitely got some winds, at least doing that at the moment.
A shower or two's on the way for Sunday and a top of 19.
Aiwa's hottest hits all day.
Streaming live on the iHeartRadio app. What's up, Doja Cat?
Hi, I'm Ed Sheeran. Music station.
And it's actually got the one button record function here. So we'll just give the tape a quick record there. You just actually just hit tuner and it actually goes into record. There is no record button as such. So the only record function are these red buttons here, so you can either go tuner, phono, auxiliary, CD. So you just hit the button, it goes straight in. It was flash and pause at one stage, but I'm not sure what changed there or whether I've changed a function somewhere. But it generally just goes straight into it. Stop. These buttons are a bit dicky on this thing. Someone's sort of been poking at the play button a bit because it wasn't working 100%. It's not too bad now. So yeah, so we missed that guy talking because it would have been recorded on where the leader tape is. But the record all seems to work fine. There's no wow or anything bad in the sound. Still playing fine. I don't know what happened to that John Farnham tape, but I think it's only a second-hand one I got recently with some other second-hand tapes, so I can't remember whether I actually did give it a decent play or not. I was pretty sure I gave it a run and it seemed to be alright in a boombox. So maybe this deck has a problem with tapes that have got too much tension or some issue, or maybe that tape's faulty, but it seems to work on the other ones. Tuner's all running fine. Amplifier, obviously I've only really tried it on the tape and tuner. And it's all at least sort of roughly back together. The tape deck, yeah, still not completely screwed back together. It doesn't actually, I cleaned up all the buttons on it as well because it was quite disgusting, sort of oily fingerprints or greasy fingerprint stuff all around it. Whoops, I'll just hit record again on the CD, which it doesn't have. So I gave it a clean up. It does have a bit of a nasty scratch there. I've glued that little piece back on. That's just drying at the moment. And the right way around this time. It does have a little bit of a mark. I might have done that getting it off. And there's a few little marks and bits and pieces. I did loosen off that timer switch. It's still pretty tight. That was completely seized. I don't think I found anything else wrong with it. It's basically all running again. It's not too bad looking system when you get it all back together. Quite a nice little tape deck. But does need a bit more work, and yeah, mainly I've got to find the parts. It'll be in one of the boxes of stuff around here. I've cleaned up the bench and moved things a couple of times, so I'm sure all that stuff just got thrown in. There are multiple boxes here and there with all sorts of odds and sods off the bench, so I will find them eventually. I think I'll just put this thing to one side for now until that turns up. Unfortunately, I don't have the turntable, I don't have the speakers, so it's probably not a lot of use this system anyway. Oh yeah, that was another function I was going to try, is it does have a record out graphic equalizer, so I think we can, let's boost the old equalizer up. Let's make it rather over the top with the bass. And I think the idea is with that is you can record it in that with the equalizer in circuit, because most tape decks won't record what the equalizer is doing.
It's so easy for each other.
It's a bit too high there, but We'll see if that actually sounds like it's done it. Get the right volume control. Oh yeah. So that does work. Got that ridiculous amount of treble and bass on it. So that's an interesting feature. You don't see that on many things, I don't think. I don't know what that DSL was. On or off. DSL. No idea. I think I tried that before. It didn't do anything. You got your muting switch, which I think that was mainly just if you had the music cranking and you needed to shut it down to answer the phone or something and didn't want to adjust the volume. Don't really know the point of it, but a reasonable amount of systems used to have something like that on them. Takes 20 decibels off, which is quite a bit, so it just sort of shuts it down. But you didn't want to disturb your music listening and didn't want to change the volume setting or something, so you just muted it down. Maybe you want to have a conversation or something and then crank it up again. But yeah, that's all going. That eject function, I did bend the lever a little bit on that switch. It works a little bit more reliably now, but you still have to press quite hard to get it to work. And it's got that sudden eject thing. If you press it in the right place, hit my finger. I think there is a little geared bit there, which I'd say is what's broken. It should be a slow release, I'm pretty sure. There's no way it's meant to come out that violently and bounce around. So that's another thing that needs fixing at some point. But I don't have a real use for this thing anyway. I'll probably never use it again. What is it? Got an RK-X9 audio system rack. But this thing was obviously built to go in this system, so it's something like a Sony FX50 or something with those big cables that join all the units together. This just has DIN connectors instead, and a kind of wooden cabinet. This is obviously a much bigger system, more like a hi-fi component system, proper one for home use, but not a portable thing at all. But it's kind of on the smaller size. These were quite a nice sort of ear, I think. They look quite good, had quite good features, good sound, and a bit more compact. They're not the big old standard size, almost a 19-inch rack mount size of the old equipment, because they didn't need it. I mean, most cassette players and tuners of that era were empty anyway. There's only the amp that had a reasonable amount of stuff in it. Cool, wind's getting vicious here. Might have to shut this down, but yeah, with the modern amps, I mean, that had a big SDK chip in it, so that most of the gear is in the output stage, and the electronics is reasonably compact, so no real need. There's not as deep, not as wide. But yeah, it's putting it back together. Like I said, it's a shame. I might be able to polish some of that off and maybe cover up that black bit, get rid of that scratch. It's a shame it's a little bit rough and been a little bit mistreated in its life. But anyway, that's as far as I'll go with it for now. I'll have to try those cassette motors in something else. Don't know why they had such a bad reaction to this deck, but there was the issue of that tape that was playing up really badly on the other tape as well. So, but anyway, that's this thing sorted for now. Thanks for watching.